Hi, Clinton Wade here. So today I'd like to talk to you about appraisals. This has become a big topic recently because they've kind of changed the way that these are done. The way it used to be done was the loan broker had a direct relationship with the appraiser, and when it came time to order the appraisal, they would call up the appraiser that they worked with and say, hey, we have a contract for X number of dollars, we need you to go out and appraise it. And the appraiser was getting a lot of business from these loan brokers, so the argument was that they didn't want to lose that business, so they were bringing in properties at value that really shouldn't have been. So thus they were inflating prices. Now it's handled completely differently. The banks are the ones that actually contact the appraiser and order the appraisal. The problem with that now is these appraisers are kind of, it's a round robin type of situation, and their names are being basically pulled out of a hat, and a lot of these appraisers are not familiar with the neighborhoods that they're appraising. Just like in real estate, they say everything is local. It would be like me going to San Francisco or an area, let's say Woodland Hills, and trying to act like that's where I specialize. These appraisers are not familiar with the neighborhoods, many of them. They're not familiar with the prices, past sales, and what's happening is they're bringing back these appraisals at below what the properties are actually worth, and essentially they're killing the deal, or really harming the deal, to the point that the only way you can go is you can either appeal the amount that they brought the property in at, which we're not having much success with, or the loan broker can close out that file, go to a new bank, and order a new appraisal. And the problem with that is the buyer or the seller, somebody has to pay for these appraisals, and they're running around $450 for an appraisal, so then you have to bring them back out. I had a property recently, the appraiser came out, he wasn't familiar with the neighborhood, he said he was, and he brought the property in below market, and we then had to close out the loan, go to a new lender, resubmit everything, get a new appraisal, and that time we really made sure that the appraiser was familiar with the neighborhood, and it came in at value, and the deal went through. So this is something, I mean, there's a few ways as an agent you can kind of tell. It's very difficult, and there's no real way of controlling this, and that's the problem. When the appraiser calls you and you're the listing agent to schedule the appraisal, if you see an area code that's obviously not where you work, that's a red flag. And it might not be an issue. Call the appraiser back, talk to him, find out what past appraisals he's done in the neighborhood, and just pick his brain, make sure that he's really familiar, see how many years he's been in the business, and that's about. And if you find out he's never really appraised anything in the neighborhood and he's newer, you can refuse and then go ask the loan broker to contact the bank and have them send someone else back out. But after that, it's very difficult. If they come out to the property and they appraise it, it's very difficult to get, and it comes in below, it's very difficult to get that change, that price. So this is a topic that if you're reading the paper regularly, it's something that's coming up again and again and again, and everybody's aware of it, and we're trying to figure out a way to get around it. Just like there's a lot less loans going on nowadays. These appraisers are hungry for business, so they're going outside the areas that they typically work in, and they're really doing the real estate industry a harm because they're not familiar with the areas that they're appraising. When you're having, and I've heard story after story after story, having properties come in $50,000 below what the offers are for, and this property that they're appraising went out in multiple offers. There were more than one buyer who was interested in buying it, and then they're coming in way below at the accepted price. There's a red flag there, and that's a real problem. And then when you actually, in the scenario that I told you that I recently went through, you actually close out the deal, have a new appraiser come out, and it comes in at value, and there's no problems. There's got to be some sort of solution. But as a seller, you want to make sure that your realtor who lists your home at least looks at when the appraiser calls, and these are the only things as a realtor you can really do. When the appraiser calls to schedule the appraisal, look at the area code. If it's an area code, call the appraiser back, very politely ask him, what he's appraised recently in the neighborhood. Is he familiar with the neighborhood? How many years has he been in the business? That's the only time that you really get to interview them. And if you don't feel comfortable and you don't feel like they know the neighborhood, don't let them into the property. Call up the loan broker will call the bank, and then the bank will send someone else out. So that's my my topic for the day. My name is Clinton Wade. I love what I do. Feel free to call me if you have any questions. My number is 310-433-0633. Thank you for your time.